Have you ever been caught off guard before? Maybe you went into a situation with certain expectations, but then after stepping into that situation, you were completely surprised. Well, that's how I've been feeling recently. In this episode, I'm going to share the biggest surprise about the city of Houston that I've discovered since moving here. This may actually surprise you too. Let's parlay. Well, welcome to another episode of Let's Parlay. I am super appreciative for you guys tuning in. As you can tell, there is a different setting that I'm currently in, and I've had to make some adjustments. It feels like I don't know. I feel like I'm in the corner of like a prison cell recording this right now, just with the lighting and all that sort of stuff. I'm still going to be playing around with that throughout the next couple of episodes, so I just ask that y'all bear with me, but I hope that you're here for the content. I know there were some things that were aesthetically pleasing before, but we're gonna work on this with time because I've had a move from Austin to Houston, and I'm officially here now. So as I'm recording this is the first episode you're seeing me record in Houston. Okay, so I just wanted to get that disclaimer out there because obviously some things have changed. I'm like, these shadows annoy me like crazy. Okay, I've been trying to get rid of them with adjusting the angle of the lighting, the brightness, and all that sort of stuff. But then it affects how it looks on me. It's just one of those things that I had to get off of my chest because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I just have to be patient with the process. So if there's any of you out there who are like myself, who are super analytical and want things to be just right, I get it. But what matters most is the consistency. Because I told y'all, I'm going to be dropping an episode every week this year, and I have been consistent with that since the beginning of 2026, and I plan on sticking to it. So just bear with me. Um, as always, like I said, I'm appreciative for y'all listening in, and I'm excited to talk about what I'm going to share today. The biggest surprise that I have experienced since moving to the city of Houston. And maybe for some, this is to be expected. Maybe those who live in Houston already knew this about Houston. Maybe some people have felt this when they visited the city of Houston. And maybe this is a reputation about the city that I just wasn't aware about. But what I will say is that it has been the most pleasant surprise that I've ever had when moving to a new city. Drum roll, please. That surprise is. I don't know what I was doing. That surprise has been the hospitality. I mean, I have never been so welcomed and so loved. And not loved in a way that's like a worship sort of thing, but just really people wanting to put me onto a good experience when moving to a new city. So, for those of you who don't know, this is my fourth city in 5 years, right? So, I lived in Philly for 3 years from 2019 till 2022. And then I moved to Los Angeles at the end of 2022. And then I moved to Austin towards the end of 2024. And now I'm in the city of Houston at the beginning of 2026. Every move that I've made, I've let people know about it. I've let people know that, hey, I'm in a new city. I'm excited to move here, whether it be on social media, whether it be just talking to friends and family. And I will say the reception and the response that I've seen on social media has been just the most eye-opening thing that I've experienced. And it's so interesting because when you think about it, it is sort of not the reality of things, right? Like social media does show how people respond naturally to certain news or certain information, but it's kind of its own little world. But within that world, I've seen the connection to also what I've experienced in reality here in Houston as well too. What I've met people in person and all that, but I mean, I've had so many comments on the post that I've shared about my move. I've had so many people DM me and just reach out saying, welcome to Houston. Literally just welcome to Houston. Oh, here's a church that I go to. Feel free to come through. I've had people really spend what appeared to be a significant amount of time writing these messages and sharing their recommendations. And I'm just more than grateful and thankful for the Lord bringing those people into my life, because I think I've never had any doubts about this move. But the great part about this experience thus far is that it has really confirmed a lot of what my convictions were in making this move. So I felt very strongly like, yeah, this is what I need to do. This 100% makes sense after praying on it in my heart. And then to see it kind of backed up with some sort of external confirmation is just nice. You know, it's like when you're on a fitness journey and you're working out, you feel different. But then when you hear someone tell you like, yo, you've been working out, you looking good. It's another layer. You're not doing it for that, but it's just another layer of confirmation that I wasn't expecting to experience. And when it came to my expectations of the city, they've definitely changed with time, and they've changed with how I've matured. Because when I first came to Houston, I was coming here for all the wrong reasons. I was coming here to be outside. And whether it be with my friends, my brother, whatever, we were enjoying ourselves the way that, I found to be enjoyable during those times, less holy, right? So it was a lot of like late nights, a lot of like partying and stuff. And I had a certain expectation or a certain perspective on Houston that I think a lot of people have when they come here, and based off of what people promote when they're coming here. I mean, you hear of like the James Hardens and him going to the strip club. I recently posted an Instagram reel where I reacted to Shannon Sharp and Matt Rife talking about how Houston is the devil's playground. And I found that a lot of people were very supportive of my perspective, and I'll share that with you today. It's just that wherever you move, whatever you're looking for and whatever you're about, you're gonna find it, okay, one way or another. Now, what I will say is that there is a reality to when you come to a city like Houston, there is plenty of that available. Plenty of unholy things, plenty of partying, plenty of drinking, plenty of, clubs, lounges, that sort of vibe. And I'm not saying and I'm not ignoring that. However, there's a whole nother side of Houston that is just as present as that when it comes to a faith-based community, when it comes to a fitness community, folks who like to do things during the day, who don't need to be outside past 9 p.m. There's a whole bunch of people like that as well too. But like with everything, a lot of the bad or negative or the juicy stuff gets talked about more than the wholesome things, right? Like you think about the news that we watch, people aren't reporting a lot about positive things and good things because that's not what sells. So that's what I will say is I've been so pleasantly surprised by the presence of that community, the faith-based community, the fitness community, and how supportive they've been in just putting me on to different places, different coffee shops, food spots. I almost feel overwhelmed by the laundry list, the bucket list of places that I have to go to, or not even have to go to, that I can go to based off of y'all recommendations. So if you are any one of those people who has reached out, who has commented, who has just engaged with the news that I've shared about moving to Houston, I just want to say thank you because I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. Even if it was just a simple welcome to Houston. And I haven't been able to get back to all the messages and comment on everything just because it's just been overwhelming to kind of catch up to. So I will at some point, but I just wanted to start off there and say that it's much appreciated. And the other thing that I'll say too is that it's been 3 weeks since I've officially moved. And yeah, I think my experience is still fresh. So I am open to whatever is bound to happen with time, where maybe I see more of things that I like, maybe I see more of things that I don't prefer, and that's completely fine, right? Like I'm not sitting here making one judgment or another. But what I will say is that I've really appreciated the connections that I've made also in person, not just in social media, but in person as well too. Like, I think everyone who I've told that, hey, I just moved here has been like, oh, welcome. You know, like there's, especially the people who are from Houston, they're very, like that is like a very common thing for them to say. Like they just lead off with welcome, you know, I'm glad you're here. Like um, it just feels nice. It feels nice. And I haven't had that ever move into a city. Like most people are just like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like they just kind of brush off the fact that you're new here. But people in Houston take a lot of pride in welcoming you. So for anybody who is considering making the move or even just visiting, I just encourage you to kind of open up a little bit more, especially me being from the East Coast and then moving to a city like Los Angeles, where, you know, I definitely lost a lot of trust and faith in people, in humanity. Austin, I would say, is kind of similar to Houston, but just I don't think I've experienced it to the level that I've experienced it in Houston, where people are so welcoming. People are very friendly in Austin for sure, but the welcoming presence here in Houston just unmatched, unmatched. So that has been my biggest surprise since moving here, and I will say that yes, I'm 3 weeks into being here. And for those of you who have maybe moved to a new city and you're thinking about like, how do I approach this? I want to find community. I want to do all this sort of stuff. What I have heard in my prayers the most is just patience. When I think about it, like I moved to Austin in October of 2024. I didn't really find my community until about the beginning of 2025. So it was a few months that I passed. Now, there was a lot of things that I wasn't doing right that wasn't leading me towards that community. So I do feel that I'll probably find community here in Houston a lot quicker. However, I'm still being patient with that process. So, for example, churches, you know, I've been here 3 weeks, so I've been to 3 different churches so far. And you know, with that experience, I'm not like trying to find the perfect one. I am looking for specific things, and I believe I'll talk more about like how I'm going through that process of like finding my home church, what I care about, what you should possibly go through. But I'm just being patient with the process. Like I'm not in any sort of rush to figure certain things out. Now, what I did have to make a decision on was which gym I was going to, because that was causing me a lot of anxiety, surprisingly, you know, because I was kind of in a mode where I thought, oh, well, I'm just going to bounce around, experience a bunch of different gyms and, you know, just see what makes the most sense for me. But the inconsistency in the routine and also living in Houston, like dealing with the traffic and the timing of the traffic, it was just better for me to decide to go to one and commit to that. And then if I visit other ones, you know, supplemental to that gym, then maybe I can switch memberships down the line. But it was just more important for me to have a gym that I was going to consistently. So I decided to go to, you know, a more franchise gym here downtown and just commit to that so that I could have some sort of consistency in my life. Because the gym, you know, if I'm not going consistently, then I'm a menace to society. And not a menace, but I'm just not right. And y'all don't want to see me when I'm not right. So yeah, that's how I'm approaching things since moving here. I'm very I will say I'm definitely craving a Bible study. I'm definitely craving being rooted in a faith-based community, and a lot of people are very excited to, you know, invite me to their churches and to recommend me to certain churches, and that is much appreciated. But I also just know that I need to take my time with that, and it may not necessarily be one visit and I'm done. It may be I need to go visit a few places twice just to see, okay, I had two experiences here and I can compare the two as opposed to like being hypercritical of the first impression. So that is how I'm going about things. But again, like I mentioned earlier, I haven't seen a lot of the ratchet or the turned up side of Houston just because I haven't been looking for it. And even if people, you know, like the very few times that someone has invited me to something that's like past 6 or 7 p.m., I'm just like, that's just past my bedtime. You know, you won't find me there because I'm not on that type of time anymore. even if it's something wholesome, if it starts at 7, I'm out by 9. You know, I just can't. Maybe even 8:30. So my bedtime's very, very important to me. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this move. It's been a pleasant surprise to see how welcoming everybody has been. I've mentioned this already. I am living with my brother. That has come with a lot of change, you know, because the biggest thing that I've had to lean into recently is not trying to control everything, or make things my way. Like when you are living with someone, you have to communicate, you have to provide suggestions, but you can't just come in and start making things your way by will or by force, I should say. And I really feel that it's been great, to have someone that you trust in the same space with you that you can communicate with. Me and him have both talked about how, like, wow, like we're both saving a lot of money, because a lot of the times where we would maybe go out to socialize and spend money doing so, now we kind of look forward to coming back, you know, chopping it up about the day and all that sort of stuff. And that's been really helpful. And then on top of that, we're splitting everything, so that helps reduce costs. And we're making each other better in various different ways, you know. So I'm excited for how I'm going to grow as a result of living with my brother, and how he's going to grow. And I feel like the biggest thing that I have learned is just communication. How important that is. It's way better to over communicate than it is to assume and under communicate, especially as men, because when we just tend to be like, move on, like kind of brush it past and think about the next thing. However, it is important to chat through things. So, you know, it's been nice to just be like, hey, bro, you good? Straight, anything that I could, all right, cool. You know, and he'll ask me the same thing. And it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. And I've also been sleeping a lot better. I don't I don't know how that's even possible, because I thought it would definitely be a struggle to sleep. Maybe the first couple of days it was, but man, I've had some of the best sleep, consistent sleep, since moving here to Houston and being in this new situation. So I don't know what there is to be said about that, but that's just another thing that I figure I'd add on. Um, but yeah, I will say I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I don't want to belabor too many points and just start talking nonsense to you. But I will share what's next on the horizon for me, because obviously that will be a part of my journey, and I want to take y'all along with me on that. So one is obviously looking for my home church. Like I said, I'm going to be patient with that whole process, and just, you know, knowing how to maybe filter out some of the suggestions that are on my list already. I've had some experiences at churches, in Houston so far that have been interesting. All have been within a good spirit, I feel, but just different, and I'll talk about that maybe in a future episode. And then finding my fitness community as well too. There is this I don't even know, organization or page that I followed on TikTok that I forgot to follow on Instagram, but it's called Earn Recovery. And they had an event one of these Saturdays that I was here, and it just didn't pop up on my page. And I was like, dang, like I missed that event, but I'm excited to go to one of those, because it's kind of similar to what was done in Austin. What I would go to is like this theme called Coffee and Chill. And it would be cold plunges, vendors, coffee, and it would be from like, you know, 10 a.m. to 12 in Austin. This event was actually from like 10 a.m. to 2. And I'm excited to have something like that in Houston as well. So that'll be an easy way for me to connect with other folks in the fitness community. And then just continuing to try out like different food, coffee shops, maybe once a week or so. I do have a home work setup, and I have mainly been doing that just because of the consistency of it, and knowing like, okay, I don't have to think about how to get there, packing food. Like, I'll just work from home for now. But eventually I do want to go and branch out a little bit more, and just connect and just, you know, meet different people as a virtue of working in different places. So that's on the horizon. But yeah, that's how things have been going so far here in the city. The weather has been kind of bipolar. just typical Texas weather. It's like been up and down. You really can't predict what you're gonna get, and that's been fine because it hasn't been really hot or really humid yet. And I'm relishing in this moment because I know it's about to get really, really muggy out here, and I gotta prepare for that. But I'm an early riser, so more than likely I'm just gonna shift my workouts to the morning. My schedule has just been completely all over the place, but nevertheless, I digress. Um, I just hope that this has been encouraging for anyone who is planning to visit Texas in general, but I'll definitely say Houston, um, because there's a lot here that I think people haven't really given a chance to see or explore when it comes to things to do and the people and what they have to offer here. Um, I will also say that now that I'm 30 plus, I'm going to be 31 this year. Uh, my frontal lobe is developing, and maybe more developed than it's ever been. Definitely more developed than it's ever been. So I just think about things a lot more maturely. Like I'm very curious about how this city works. Like how there's a lot less restriction on real estate development and zoning laws and the impact that that's had on people's experiences here. Like it's very much more similar to LA, like a commuter city because of the lack of, public transportation and the highway system and the traffic. Like I'm just so intrigued by that. And I've done a lot of research into the history of Houston, how it came about. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn. And that's really exciting. And I don't know why, but I wasn't that curious about Austin as I am in Houston just because of how big and massive the city has become as a result of just the lack of zoning and all that sort of stuff that are usually a part of other cities. So anyway, I'm probably going to do an episode on that. And it seems as if there's a lot of people who are interested to hear what I have to say about the city. So maybe I'll start talking about that more if that's what y'all want to hear. But I'm also open to other suggestions. So please, in the comments, let me know if there's anything that you care to hear me talk more about moving forward. I'm kind of open game when it comes to the topics for the rest of this year. I mean, I'm going to be posting an episode every week. So we might be talking about a lot of things. But I have seen a lot of reception towards my thoughts on Houston. And yeah, I'm open to sharing more of my experience. So I appreciate you for tuning in. And please like, subscribe, comment. And if there's anything that you would like to hear more of, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But stay tuned for the next episode next week and appreciate you tuning in. God bless.